I'm Chad from Chad DIY. In today's video, we are installing this Della mini split. Now, the reason I went with this Della mini split is it's super affordable, it's got great reviews, and it can heat all the way down to negative 13 degrees. Now, I live in Minnesota, so it's a cold climate a big chunk of the year, so I wasn't really focused on the air conditioning aspect of this machine, which it definitely can do, but on the heating side of things. So with all that being said, let's get started on installing this Della mini split. All right, so now I have the bracket off the mini split head there. So we're gonna kind of just take this template, really handy. We're gonna tape this on the wall, make sure it's level. And the main thing is, so where the line set's going out this hole, we wanna make sure that's not gonna line up with the stud. So I can kind of see where my drywall screws are, so I can see where the studs are on my wall. So we'll line that all up, just make sure there's gonna kind of be an open cavity to drill through later on, and we'll go with this step next. So kind of up in the ceiling here. So this side I have lined up, so I'm gonna hit the stud of the wall. This one, if I use the screw holes, I'm gonna have to do the wall anchors, but the head unit is quite light, so it's not gonna be a lot of weight hanging from these things, so this should be plenty secure. All right, now I can just match up these holes, and we're gonna secure this to the wall here. All right, now before I drill out the big section of this hole, I'm gonna use a long drill bit, and I'm gonna go all the way through to the back of the outside of the wall there, and I'm gonna go at a downward angle. The reason for that is there's gonna be a drain line. You don't want it to be going the other way, or else it'll drain back into the head unit. So going to go down at an angle, and we'll go from there. All right, before we get this head unit mounted up on the wall, we're gonna wanna hook up the wiring and the drain line. So this wiring, pretty self-explanatory, but there can be a little confusion with the coloring. So these all are numbered. Black is numbered 3, and on both ends, so they match up that way. But inside the mini split head here, the wiring coloring does not match up with the numbering. So like black is 3 here, inside there's a black wire that has 1 on there. So a little confusing that way. I'm just gonna totally disregard color and strictly go off by the numbers, line up a number 1 with number 1 in there, and everything should be fine. So let's run our cable, and then we'll do our drain line as well. All right, get the wire through here. This is probably gonna be a little hard to show up on camera there because it's got the hood, but as you can see, the 1, 2, 3, then probably like a ground or whatever, so we'll just match that up. All right, gonna start wrapping this now. The instructions say to have that drain line on the bottom. That's I guess the main thing, so I feel like as long as we're okay with that, I can kind of tip this over just to make it a little easier. Also, that drain line that I was going to attach right now, there's plenty of drain line to stick through the wall, just so it's going to be a little easier. I'm just going to attach that once from the outside, do the drain line as well do the line sets as well. So we got it mounted on the wall. The last step I'm going to do inside here is just kind of go over my flare connections. Now, a lot of people say just cut them off and reflare them yourself. So just kind of need a few basic tools. You cut the copper, you use it to deburr it, a little deburring tool, and then you reflare it. So kind of going to leave that up to you whether you decide to. Yeah, I know a lot of people do recommend just don't using the factory settings as well. I kind of looked over the bigger line set, looked really good. I reflared one of these top ends here. So just kind of leave that up to you just to make sure you're going to have a really nice, smooth, clean connection when you install these line sets. All right, so we're outside. As you can see, still winter here, which is perfect for this unit because I'm basically using it for heat. I don't really care about the air conditioning as much because I live in Minnesota. Not a huge issue. So first step, we're just gonna, I kind of built this it's a little wooden platform on top of a concrete pad I poured already. And the reason for that is we get a lot of snow, so that's going to keep it up on the snow. This is the end of March, and we're supposed to get, I think, 3 to 6 inches of snow tomorrow too, so lovely, right? So we're going to put it on the rubber pads. We're going to mount the condenser unit on top of here, and we'll go from there. So we got the condenser mounted now. Now I'm going to do my line set and my drain line. I'm going to kind of bend it down. So this is copper, it's kind of fragile. So you want to bend real gradually, and we'll kind of do our line set. Now my line set's going to be too long. So, and this is kind of a short run. So I don't want to just cut it to length because this thing is pre-charged and I don't want to have too much, I don't know, Freon, refrigerant, whatever you call it, in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to coil some. Now I've read that you're supposed to coil it horizontally, not vertically, so that's what we're going to do, and so we'll go for that. So here's what I mean by coiling it horizontally instead of vertically. Now this is behind my garage, so I'm not worried at all about aesthetics, but I do have some brackets that I'm going to kind of secure to the wall so it's not just flapping like this. Now when I attach my flare fittings to the units and the head unit there, I am using this, it's called a gasket and thread sealant. I heard that was highly recommended, so I'm using that. And then I'm also going to use a torque wrench to tighten all these things to spec, and hopefully we don't have any leaks. So go with there. All right, now that I have my line set attached, I'm going to move on to electrical. So here we have the other end of what we attached to the head unit a little while ago, the 1, 2, 3 in the ground. And also over here, I already ran the whip wire. Now, I'm not really getting into how you attach that to the electric panel. That's maybe for an electrician to do if you're not confident with your wiring ability. But so yeah, we got our electrical whip here. We got our 4 wires here, and we're going to connect everything together. All right, now I'm going to vacuum everything down. So I got this little vacuum pump here. So I got the yellow side plugged into the vacuum pump. It's going to the center of my gauges here. Got the high turned all the way off. The low is wide open. And so we're going to run this 20-30 minutes. Make sure you have oil on here. I did have to, so you connect it to the service port here. There is like kind of a special connection to get to that service port. I'll provide the links for this stuff in the description of the video. And yeah, we'll run it and we'll vacuum it all down. All right, we got our gauge way down there, so we're gonna lock this in place here, turn off the pump, and we're gonna let that sit maybe 20 minutes just to make sure it doesn't drop. If it drops, it means we have a leak. All right, so the gauge is holding well, so we're gonna give it a little shot of that refrigerant going through. Now, to me, this is probably the most crucial step because probably for the DIYers, most of the time where they're gonna go wrong with this whole system is they're gonna have a leak. And so once you have a leak, then good chance you're going to have to call on an HVAC guy to come fill it up and make sure you don't have any leaks. So what we're going to do, we're going to give a little shot. I got some soapy water here, and so we're going to spray all around just to make sure, even though with the vacuum test and everything, we want to just make sure that there still aren't any leaks. So open up for about 5 seconds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shut it, and now we're going to spray all around. All right, so I can't find any leaks, so we're going to take the gauges off. We're going to open up the system, and then we're going to turn the power on and see how this thing works. All right, so this thing's wrapping up behind me. So the first test we're gonna do is just a heat test. Cold outside, so it's nice to be inside here. So I'm actually gonna get this shop. I have my other heater going. Gonna get this shop cooled down, and then I'm gonna do a 2-hour test just to see what kind of temperature rise I can get in 2 hours with this thing going full blast. So excited to see the results for that. All right, so I got it cooled down in here. Let's see if you can read that. So it's 48.9 degrees. That's our starting point. So we're going to run it for 2 hours, about 10 a.m. So we'll go to noon, and we'll see what this temp is in a couple hours. Now, I just turned this on. I turned it off now, but it was blowing out really nice heat. So I'm optimistic, even with this cold concrete slab in this garage, that it's going to warm up nicely. So let's give it a try. All right, so it's been about an hour and a half, actually, and I'm kind of at my desired temp. So I'm at just a little over 63. So I don't know. That's pretty comfortable for me. Still, I got my overalls on and everything. So I don't know how much you can hear of the mini split, but it is so quiet. Even I have the fan on at full blast, and it's still super quiet compared to normally have my gas heater, which would super loud, turn off, come back on. So this is just like a nice steady hum. So excited for that. So now I'm going to kind of turn it down. I think I have it, 88 degrees. So I just turned up super high. I'm going to put it down to 65, and then kind of probably for a couple hours and just kind of see how it maintains at 65 degrees while I'm kind of working around the garage here. So we'll check back in a little bit. All right, so it's been quite a while, and we got 65, if you can see that, 65.5. So it's doing a great job just modulating that temperature. I was kind of concerned with the size of this mini split, so I got I don't know if it's about a little over 600 square foot garage. I got kind of vaulted ceilings here as well. And the concrete slab, I don't normally heat this, so it's basically like a frozen chunk of concrete. So I thought I was gonna have to get my gas heater to, come on, get up to temp, but I was hoping it was just gonna keep that temp. But super pleased how it was able to rise all the way up to a comfortable temperature in a pretty small amount of time as well. And it's holding that temperature nicely as well. So one thing I love about this remote is anytime you grab it, it kind of lights up. So when you set it down, you can't really see it, but you grab it and then you can see the temperature, what settings you have. Right now I got the fan on auto, so I had it on full blast, but it does a really nice job just kind of regulating itself and kind of just set it and forget it. And all kinds of different features on this remote as well. So really excited about this Della mini split. So I'm super excited to have this mini split in my garage. The lowest temp you can set it to is 61 for heating. So my plan is just to kind of keep it at 61. That's comfortable for me to come in and out. I don't need it super warm in here. And so if you're wondering how low you can get it, that's the temp. But if you have any questions on this unit, on this video, please leave them in that comment section below. I will provide a link to this Della mini split, and you can kind of see they'll have different versions. This is the 12,000 BTU, 220 volt or 240 volt or whatever. So some of the smaller units they do have in the 110, 115 volt range, so you can kind of see your options as well. And I will also provide the links of the equipment I use too, so you can install a mini split yourself. So as always, I'm Chad from Chad DIY, and we'll see you on the next one.